There's no excuse for animal abuse. Not religion, not an eating disorder, not peer pressure, not your monetary status. Don't eat animals, don't buy their bodies, don't steal their milk, their blood, or their honey.
Shut the fuck up. God damn.
I'm not normally one to be moved through a simple song and dance routine, but I gotta hand it to this lady. My eyes have been opened. I've been introduced to a standard of living I didn't even know was possible, and I just have to reiterate what she's saying here. And pay special attention. If I catch any of y'all consuming animals, or any of their byproducts for that matter, the only thing you'll be eating is a knuckle sandwich through a straw. But like, not a straw, like a good one. The one that saves the turtles and shit. Not the plastic ones. Yeah, a soggy, wet paper straw. Let that sink in. But nah, this lady is insane. Many of y'all have probably heard of her. She goes by That Vegan Teacher. And well, she's back with another banger, this time posing one of the questions of all time. Should she take her clothes off for money in regards to animal rights activism and all that? And well guys, let's just sit back and listen as a vegan feminist makes mincemeat out of all of us, you know, us animal eating pieces of garbage. I'm sure it'll be oh so educational, as always.
Hi everyone. Today I want to talk to you about taking off our clothes as activists, posing in the nude, and getting money for it, and whether that is a good thing for veganism or not.
So already off to a pretty great start here. I mean, she's just out here wasting absolutely no time just posing those really hard-hitting questions, man. You know, let's keep watching and see what she has to say about all this.
To be honest with you, I don't really know exactly how I feel about it. On the one hand, I am a strong feminist. I've always been for equal rights. I've fought for them for ages. And that includes the right for women to do whatever they want with their bodies. On the other hand, it seems very depressing and sad and somehow wrong that animal rights activists feel that they have to take off their clothes and pose in the nude in order to get enough money to be able to pay the rent, pay their internet bill, buy themselves some food, have a roof over their heads in order to be able to work to save the billions of animals on this planet who are suffering.
Wait. Hold on one goddamn second here. I think I speak for just about everyone when I say these people don't have to do anything. She out here talking about how, oh, you know, these are hard times. You know, the only way these people can survive, you know, put food on the table, pay their bills, and support the animals, blah, 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 is to get butt-ass naked. And I'm about to blow your mind, lady. You ready? I really hope you're ready, because this one's a doozy. I don't know, it's called get a job? Jesus. No one is forcing people to choose this path and become animal rights activists around the clock. You know, nobody's forcing people to live in poverty, barely scraping by as a result. And no one, I can assure you, is forcing y'all to take your clothes off, man. Like, what the fuck? If you want to pay your bills, you're gonna get your ass onto Indeed.com and fill out a goddamn job application like the rest of us.
What do you want me to do?
I don't care.
Yeah, get a job.
Oh, get a job?
Yeah.
Just get a job? Why don't I strap on my job helmet and squeeze down into a job cannon and fire off into Jobland, where jobs grow on jobbies?
Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. You can't do that apparently because you can't pay your internet bill. I don't know what to tell y'all, you're just gonna have to figure it out. And another thing, man, did I miss the memo or something? Like, what the hell is getting naked gonna do to save the animals? I'm seriously so confused, man. Like, the logical decision would to be, oh, let's say, you know, animal cruelty is at an all-time high, you know, animals are suffering, I don't know, maybe expose their living conditions, you know, they get slaughtered for food and their byproducts harvested and all that, so why not expose maybe the inhumane methods of doing that and then use that money to try and do something about it? But nah, that would make just too much sense, right? You know, why do all that heavy lifting and do all that hard work that actually makes a difference when we can sit on our asses and do nothing and claim to be activists and claim to be these godly saint-like people that are just doing such great work, right, by getting naked? Like, bro, what the fuck is that supposed to accomplish, man? Like I said, I must have missed the memo or something. And one more thing before we move on here, you know, don't think that I didn't notice what's going on here, you know, don't think that I didn't notice the deception that's going on here. isn't the whole point of activism to lend your time and effort for a good cause, you know, to be an altruistic person, you know, without the expectation of money? You know, some of these people out here defending the animals and attempting to make a living off it. Well, hold on, doesn't that sound a little backwards? You know, maybe a little bit unethical? Well, wouldn't these people at that point not be doing it for the animals or to spread some sort of positive message, you know, but instead be doing it to be, I don't know, maybe public nuisances, to bully people into their way of thinking, and they're doing it most notably to line their pockets and to chase that sack, you feel me? I gotta hand it to y'all, you know, y'all were almost able to pull the wool over our eyes here, but we caught y'all in 4K. You know, talk about a bunch of losers trying to police me and you know, talking about my body, my choice and all that, but on the other hand, refusing to accept our choices and doing it all for your own personal gain in the process. These people don't truly care about animals, or, well, let me revise that, you know, maybe they do, at least to a certain extent, but they always be seeming to put themselves on some sort of moral high horse, you know, acting like they're just God's greatest gift to mankind and the animals. You know, they're just great people doing this great thing, and, you know, they don't do it for money, you know, they don't do it for fame or notoriety, they do it for the animals, right? But they're really just a bunch of phonies doing it to profit off of it. How many people would really be doing this, do y'all think, if they couldn't find a way to monetize it? And shouldn't that money be used to, like, I don't know, better the living conditions of animals and to combat the meat industry and all that? You know, apparently, you know, butchering animals the way we do and eating them is just such a terrible thing. You know, maybe investigate what's going on behind the scenes. You know, maybe there's some inhumane activity going on behind the scenes. And maybe y'all could do something about that, you know, instead of maybe just using the money to pay your bills. But shit, what do I know?
I have been told myself that I should do an OnlyFans, that there are all kinds of crazy people out there who would pay money to see close-ups of my toes.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
I find that really bizarre, and it's not something that interests me.
Thank God. Thank you, God. God is real, everybody. But I don't know why she chose to include that part of the video. Very, very strange segment indeed. But speaking of strange segments, take a look at this.
When I was early in my 30s and I had my kids, we found out that there was this camp, this Unitarian camp, where they had a nude beach, and where kids would go and where adults would go, and everybody just kind of went. It was a very small nude beach on this pond, and there was, at the other end of it, there was a clothing only beach, so it was optional. And at the time, you know, when kids are little, they often play without their bathing suits on in the sand, and I thought to myself, well, if everybody else is doing it, I guess it's all right.
This is seriously the most schizo video I think I've ever seen. You know, 1 minute she's talking about getting naked in defense of the animals. You know, we've already discussed how that makes zero sense. You know, these naked protesters need to be stopped. But then she goes on to basically expose herself for being really weird. Like, what perfectly sane individual thinks it's a good idea to take their kids to a nude beach where God only knows how many fucking weirdos hang out? Not only that, but your kids don't need to be exposed to that. You know, I really shouldn't have to get on here and say that, but the fact she's a freak aside, two things I want to point out. One, what does this have anything to do with the original discussion, you know, with saving the animals and whatnot? And two, you know, she says, well, if everyone else is doing it, it must be okay, right? Well, that same logic could be applied to eating meat. You know, eating meat and using byproducts of animals as part of a healthy diet in no way, shape, or form makes you a terrible person. It simply makes you a normal person who has pretty normal preferences. Like, these are pretty widely agreed upon things, you know, it's not like totally crazy to be a meat eater, right? But I guess that logic is only applicable if it aligns with your kooky agenda, right? If y'all don't want to eat meat and all that, more power to you, that's your prerogative, but don't be like this lady who once referred to Gordon Ramsay as Hitler. Yeah, don't be like that. And don't bring your kids to a nude beach. What the hell is wrong with you? She later goes on to say that OnlyFans accounts specifically are another potential method of like naked protesting or whatever and making money. But like at that point, you wouldn't really be an activist for the animals, you'd sort of be an OnlyFans creator, right? You're not really an activist that's struggling, you're just an OnlyFans creator who's struggling at that point. Like, this whole video is just all over the place and makes no sense. And as if the whole beach thing isn't weird enough, one of my loyal subscribers made me aware of a wild situation that happened over on her page a while back. And when you pair this with the whole beach thing, you start to understand just how psychotic this woman is.
But look closely. This meat is covered in barbecue sauce, which is made of salt, sugar, and spices. The baby is enjoying the barbecue sauce, which is vegan. If this had been a lollipop, the child would have had the same reaction. If this had been somebody's penis covered in sauce, the child would have had the same reaction.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Let that sink in for a minute. Let that imagery wash all over your body. And before you can scream and yell and say that there is a big difference between the two, I invite you right now to try to articulate that. Because, in fact, there is no difference.
I actually failed to include the beginning of the clip, so just for some context here, there's this aunt babysitting her sister's child, and while they're alone, she decided to feed the baby ribs, which honestly is pretty epic, pretty cool, pretty based, I would say. Because, I mean, after all, you saw the look in his eyes, right? He was loving it, bro. He was finally happy to eat some good food for a change, right? But this could very well be rage bait, right? There's no actual proof on whether this video is real or not, but that's not really important. What I want to talk about is how there most certainly is a difference, you freaks. So keep in mind her name, that vegan teacher, implies she was a public educator at one point in her life. You know, someone who was around children, primarily alone, 8 hours out of the week, Monday through Friday. And this is the first attempt of a rebuttal that comes into her head. This is so crazy to even try to attempt to put eating a rib and eating a pee-pee, we'll say, on the same playing field here. One is honestly, in my eyes, an innocent act, because let's be real, you know, the baby didn't specifically consent to this, right? You know, the baby didn't say, yeah, I do want to uphold the same values and dietary restrictions that my parents have, and overall say, you know what, I'm not trying to eat some of that gas you were chefing up there in the kitchen. Like, sure, the parents are vegan and they don't want that for their kid, like, I don't know if that's a good enough argument here. That's not really their call, in my opinion, because the way I see it is they are the kid's parents, sure, but as long as it isn't subtracting from the baby's overall health, I really don't see a problem with it here, especially when in juxtaposition of what she's talking about. However, assaulting a child and performing sexual acts, I'm afraid Miss Teacher is a little different, and you should be ashamed for that comparison. Again, of all the things to compare it to, that's the one you went with. You really uttered those words and then posted it to the internet as if to expect we were all gonna be on board with it. Like, you know what? Yeah, you're right, I fuck with you. Hell nah, what the hell? It really exposes the character behind the screen that we're dealing with. And someone like this should not be on the platform. She's really trying to say that abusing a child and opening the door to long-term trauma is the same as eating a piece of meat. You know, think about that for a second, how genuinely traumatizing this could be for this child. And then she tells us to imagine it. That's the crazy part here. Imagine it, right? The worst thing that could happen to an innocent child. And let the imagery of such disgusting acts permeate our thoughts. To encourage such thought patterns is genuinely vile. This type of thinking is indicative of some sort of past behavior, right? You cannot convince me otherwise. A normal person that has not abused a child like this would not automatically, almost instinctually default to something like this. This woman not only belongs off the platform, but she needs to be looked into. These two things are most certainly different. They are not the same. So yeah, that vegan teacher, kind of a freak, never mind the whole, oh, if you eat meat, you're a terrible person thing. Like, that's annoying enough and a great reason as to why I'm not personally subscribing to her channel. That's why I'm not personally copping the merch. But aside from that, the weird shit she says about children and the weird things she says involving children honestly should get her looked at, man, by authorities. But guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, rating, subscribe to the channel for more commentaries just like this. Leave a comment down below. I would love to hear what y'all have to say about all this. And until next time, guys, this is Runter. Well, no longer eating meat anymore because it makes me an awful human being. And we will catch y'all on the next one. I'm done yapping. Later.